The sun was sinking behind the oaks, painting a quiet Ohio cul-de-sac in hues of amber and shadow. Emily Harper eased her SUV into the driveway, her body heavy with the weight of a 6-month pregnancy and a grueling day at the office. Her fingers fumbled for the paper bag of apples on the passenger seat, one hand resting instinctively on her swollen belly. She stepped out, gravel crunching underfoot, unaware that her world was about to tilt. A voice shattered the evening's calm, sharp and jagged as a broken blade. On the ground, hands where I can see them. Emily froze, her pulse hammering in her throat. She turned slowly, her eyes locking onto the barrel of a pistol aimed at her chest. 10 yards away stood a man in a makeshift uniform. Black tactical vest stretched over a cheap polo, a badge glinting with the words HOA security. His hands shook, betraying his inexperience, and his eyes darted with a mix of fear and bravado. He was young, mid-20s, pale, his vest crooked like he'd thrown it on to play a role he didn't understand. "Get down," he barked again, stepping closer, the gun wavering with each word. "Hands up now." "I live here," Emily choked out, her voice brittle. She raised one trembling hand, the other clutching the bag of apples. "This is my house." The man's jaw tightened. "Put the bag down and get on the ground." His stance was all wrong, feet too close, shoulders rigid, like a kid mimicking a cop show, except the weapon was real. Emily's breath quickened. She glanced at her belly, the fragile life within, then back at the man. Her legs buckled. The bag slipped, apples spilling across the pavement, and she sank to her knees, gravel biting her skin. One hand stayed raised, her chest tight with shallow breaths. Curtains twitched in the houses around her. Neighbors peeked through blinds, their eyes wide, but their doors shut. No one stepped out. Emily wanted to scream, to demand how a pregnant woman with groceries could be a threat, but fear sealed her lips. "Please," she whispered. "I'm pregnant." The guard's face didn't soften. The gun stayed level. Later, neighbors would mutter, "We didn't think he'd really do it," as if their disbelief absolved their silence. The moment stretched, taut and electric, until a new voice cut through, low and steady as steel. "Put the weapon down. Now." It wasn't a shout, but it carried the weight of absolute authority. The guard spun, his pistol swinging toward the sound, and froze. Ethan Caldwell stepped forward, clad in jeans and a plain jacket, no badge or uniform. Yet his presence was a force, broad shoulders, unyielding gaze, each step deliberate. His jaw was set, his eyes locked on the guard. "Put it down," he repeated, his voice a quiet storm. The guard's grip faltered, then tightened. "Who are you?" he demanded, his voice cracking. "You can't just—" Ethan cut him off. His words were precise. "I'm Ethan Caldwell, Commander of Tactical Operations, FBI SWAT. More importantly, I'm the husband of the woman you're threatening. That's a federal offense." The guard's face drained of color. He stammered. "She didn't show ID. I thought she was trespassing." Ethan took a step closer, his tone icy. "In her own driveway. With groceries. Pregnant. That's your threat." "I was following protocol," the guard mumbled. But Ethan's eyes narrowed. "No, you were feeding your ego. You pointed a loaded gun at a pregnant woman to feel powerful. That's not protocol. That's cowardice." Silence fell, thick and unforgiving. The guard's hand finally dropped, the pistol lowering. Emily, still kneeling on the gravel, felt the first full breath she'd taken in minutes. Ethan moved to her side, wrapping her in steady arms, shielding her from the fading light and the weight of everything that had nearly happened. In the distance, sirens wailed. Too late, as always. Powerful. That's not security. That's reckless endangerment. Emily, still kneeling, felt her fear morph into something sharp. Her hands, once raised, clenched into fists. She wanted to stand, to scream, but Ethan's voice kept slicing through. "You don't hide behind a fake badge. You don't threaten civilians and call it a job. You especially don't threaten my family." He paused, his eyes locked on the trembling guard. "I'm not speaking as her husband now. I'm speaking as a federal agent. You're done. The guard's mouth opened, but no words came. His confidence crumbled, leaving only the sound of his shallow breaths. Neighbors watched, some recording, others frozen, but none intervened. Emily rose slowly, not because the fear was gone, but because she refused to let this man see her on the ground any longer. The street was silent, save for the hum of her SUV's engine and the rustle of leaves. By morning, Ethan sat at the kitchen table, his laptop open, fingers flying across the keys. His eyes were sharp, scanning public records, cross-referencing names. He wasn't just a husband now. He was a man on a mission. Within minutes, he uncovered what neighbors had only whispered. The guard, Ryan Mitchell, was no security officer. No license, no training, just a volunteer with a costume and a gun. Handpicked by the HOA's president, Greg Thornton. Thornton wasn't law enforcement or military, just a former car dealer who'd clawed his way to power in the Ironwood Estates HOA. He'd built a community safety patrol from his buddies, men from poker games and online forums, given radios and badges with no oversight. One neighbor, voice heavy with years of silence, told Ethan, "It's not security. It's a cult with walkie-talkies. They scare old folks, harass kids. No one stopped them." Thornton's patrol hadn't just targeted Emily. He'd intimidated the entire neighborhood, finding people for non-existent violations, cornering teens, threatening seniors. But they picked the wrong family. Ethan wasn't just a protector. He was a man who dismantled chaos for a living, with access to federal databases and a team that could secure a building in seconds. He closed his laptop, his face calm but resolute. This wasn't about revenge. It was about justice. He made a call. "I need a favor. Pull every property management license tied to Ironwood's HOA. Names, dates, vendors, everything." The reply was swift. "Got it, Commander." Days later, Emily and Ethan sat in a county courthouse, signing a formal complaint. Emily's voice was steady despite her shaken core. "We're not moving. We're not looking away. They answer for this." The investigation moved fast, fueled by Ethan's credentials and dashboard footage that captured Ryan's threats in chilling clarity. "If you move, I'll shoot you in the leg." The courtroom fell silent as the video played. The judge's face was unreadable. The HOA's lawyer, smoothing his tie, called it a volunteer initiative for safety. The judge's response was sharp. "You call that initiative?" The case unraveled from there. Thornton and his patrol skipped court. Subpoenas were ignored. Thornton vanished. His home was empty, a moving truck spotted days earlier. Ryan Mitchell was traced to an airport, a one-way ticket to Mexico in hand. Federal agents descended on the HOA office, seizing files and hard drives. They found fake contracts with non-existent security firms. Surveillance footage showed unreported harassment, kids followed, teens confronted, a boy cornered by men demanding his address. Financial records revealed $800,000 in illegal fines, from lawn violations to citations for being on residents' own property. Thornton had vouched for a recruit with an assault conviction, bypassing any checks. This wasn't a security team. It was a criminal enterprise cloaked in HOA authority. Residents, once silent, spoke up. A single mother recounted threats after questioning fees. Others described fake citations, fines for freshly mowed lawns, noise complaints from empty lots. The FBI reclassified the case, suspected criminal enterprise. Thornton was arrested in Tennessee, silent as he was cuffed. Ryan Mitchell, stripped of his vest, stood in court, his bravado gone. "I didn't know who she was," he muttered. But that wasn't the point. No victim needed to be someone to deserve safety. In the packed courtroom, Emily sat with her hands over her belly, Ethan a steady presence beside her. The judge faced Thornton, now slouched in a wrinkled suit. For exceeding lawful authority, threatening a pregnant woman, and orchestrating a fraudulent scheme, this court sentences you to 28 years. The gavel fell. A solemn applause rose, not for punishment, but for the principle that no one could hide behind a badge, fake or real, and terrorize a community. Months later, Emily gave birth to a boy, Noah. his tiny fists curled with quiet strength. Ethan whispered, "You'll always be safe." The Ironwood HOA was dissolved, its name a cautionary tale. Residents formed a transparent council, renaming the neighborhood Justice Grove. No more fake patrols. No more fear. The sign at the entrance read, "Welcome to Justice Grove," a testament to a family that refused to bow and a man whose quiet strength redefined protection. Ethan didn't seek praise, but his stand echoed in every bike ride, every cookout, every wave between neighbors. Justice Grove wasn't just a name. It was a promise, born from a driveway confrontation that exposed a neighborhood's shadows and lit the way forward.